Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is a Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. Yes, another blind tasting. They're kind of fun. I'm getting into them right now. Now, like I said, they're not all going to be blind tastings, I know, but I've heard some good feedback on that, so I'm going to keep rolling with it as long as I can. We are doing a blind tasting of Rosé. Rosé is such an interesting wine, and I love it. I drink it all year round. It's always sad for me, you know, like right now at the store, I'm kind of cutting back just a little bit, because they really do slow down a lot when you start getting close to October. So you got to kind of time it out, you know, figure it out. Make sure that you don't have a lot of rosé on the floor come October. And there's nothing you can do about it. That's just the way it is. People like to drink rosé when it's warm outside. I like rosé because it's so diverse, especially with food. You can have it with a whole bunch of different foods. You can even have it with steak, depending on the style of the rosé. Like if you start getting into one of my favorite rosés from the Rhone Valley, Tavel, you know, those Tavels, they can stand up to a piece of meat. I'm just saying. So we're going to do a blind tasting of rosé. They're all Washington State rosés. Hard to believe we're into September already. Washington Wine Month, the August Washington Wine Month is over. But hey, we're going to continue to show love to Washington wines. Rosé can be two ways. Sometimes it's dedicated rosé. In other words, the winemaker just takes those grapes and he leaves them on the skins for however long he wants to leave them on the skins, and then uses that juice and gets rid of the rest of the grapes. A lot of winemakers use what's called the Saignée method. Saignée means to bleed. So they get some of the juice off the grapes. Then they use those grapes for, let's say they're doing a Grenache rosé. They bleed some of the juice off of the Grenache grapes. Then they move those grapes over to add to their Grenache production. So there's two ways to do it. Of course, the second way is a lot more economical for the winemaker. He can get two for the price of one. He uses those Grenache grapes, he blends them with his other grapes, and creates more Grenache in the red form versus Grenache in the pink form. So let's start looking at some pink wine in the blind format. Number one. Somebody thinks that's funny that I show you the bag with number one. It is kind of funny when you think about it. Alrighty, let's go here. There's so many different styles of rosé. Like I said, Tavel is really, really meaty. Most of the time, really rich, not rich in a sense, but really meaty, like chewy rosé. Then you have really light rosé, which a lot of people like. That's the one that garners the most attention, are the ones like this one right here, number one. You know, very kind of really light color, copper, you know, a little copper color to it. People just get hooked into that. It has to have that light color or it's not good rosé. It's okay. I tend to disagree with that. I think there's some really good rosés that are darker. But Tavel, for instance, is a darker rosé, but it's still dry. I think sometimes a darker color makes people think it might be sweet. I think that's the misconception there. Okay, so a little copper colored, you know, light, almost a peach element in there. Let's see what we get on the nose. I think at the end of the year, I'm going to do a little vote on what was your favorite shirt that I wore on the episode. As you notice, I wear a lot of different shirts. This is not a drill. See it? Right. So I'm getting, it's pretty light, you know, fairly challenged on the nose. I'm getting a little bit of watermelon and some strawberry and cherry. Yeah, let's see what we get on the palate. So this color kind of really turns people on. They like the pale colored rosés. Good acid on this rosé. Really sharp acid on this. It surrounds, I say, cherry, strawberry notes with a little bit of that watermelon coming through on the backside. Really fresh, clean rosé with that good acidity. I think it's well made. I like this rosé quite a bit. Really, yeah. Now this, to me, needs food. If you sat around, it's making my mouth water. That acidity in this wine is making my mouth water. It's not out of balance necessarily, but it is a big part of this wine. There is a little bit of a peach component, kind of a peach mango thing that comes through on the mid palate a little bit. And then it finishes like bone dry, like really, really dry. A lot of people like the really, really dry rosés. This would be a rosé that I would have with, and I'm also getting a little hit of like red raspberry on the backside as well. So this is the kind of rosé I'd say, yeah, match this up with mussels, clams, oysters. It'd be really good with those things. Definitely a shellfish rosé. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, really big on the acid side. Okay. And a long finish, by the way. Let's move on. Number 2. Oh, we got another light one here. For those who like light rosés, you got a 2 in a row with that color on it. But don't let the color fool you. I mean, like I said, darker rosés can be dry as well. This is a touch lighter than than number 1. Really, really pale, kind of copper, peachy color. Let's see what we get on the nose. This is real subtle on the nose. There's definitely a mango component. Kind of a peach mango. Maybe just a touch of melon. I'm going to stick with a peach mango melon thing. Let's see what we get on the palate. Good acidity on this one, not quite as acidic as number 1. A little softer in the mid palate on this one. I'm definitely getting that kind of peach mango, and this one has a little citrus as well on the finish. So you got that peach mango citrus thing going on. Very interesting flavors for a rosé. A touch of cherry on the mid palate as well. So you get that mango, good balance. I think the acidity isn't quite as strong. I think the acidity on number 1 was just really, really powerful. This one not so much, but still nice and dry on the finish. I like that. A lot of people like their rosés dry, as I said before. I do as well. But I also like I said, Tavel, richer, meatier style rosé. Nice expansion on the mid palate. Then it finishes nice and clean and fresh with that mango thing kind of lingering on the back end. I like that rosé quite a bit, actually. And then right sort of at the back end, I'm getting a little bit of what is it? Right at the back end, almost a little bit of a cherry tone coming through as well. Interesting. A lot of different things going on with that rosé. I like it. Let's move on to number 3. Okay. This one has a different little hue to it. Okay, look at this. Now this is much darker. We're getting into the red zone now. Kind of reminds me of blood orange color to it. Is that right, guys? Okay. Number 3. A little darker. Let's see what we get on the nose. Little strawberry. This is going into the stone fruit thing on the nose as well. A little strawberry, and then just barely underneath there's some watermelon. Yeah, let's see what we get on the palate. So strawberry and cherries. This has more guts to it on the mid palate going in. It finishes dry, but I like that strawberry kind of cherry notes that come through. And then it finishes with just a kiss of citrus. It almost perceived a little bit of fruit forward or sweetness on the mid palate, but if you want, this is like a porch pounder's rosé. I mean, you can sit down and really enjoy this all by itself. It doesn't need food, although it would go well with certain foods. Definitely a salmon rosé for sure, especially if you have a fatty salmon like a king salmon. Would go well with that. And the strawberry cherry notes really linger on the backside, and then there's just a little spine of citrus underneath. What citrus, you ask? Good question. Maybe like a blood orange citrus. Just saying. Since I nailed it as blood orange on the color. This is a delicious rosé. Now, the color might throw some people off, but I really think that it finishes dry. And sometimes you like a little bit of fruit on the mid palate. I do. But, you know, it's a personal thing, right? It's subjective. I mean, whatever you like, and can you learn to like something else? Well, hopefully you can. I don't know what I started out with. I mean, I started out with sweet wine when I first cracked into the wine world. Lambrusco was one of my favorites. And of course, you graduate into drier style wines. I always liken it to coffee. I think I've used this analogy before. When I first started drinking coffee, it was lots of sugar and cream, stirred it all up, drank it, it was okay. But as I drank more coffee, I started liking it better to the point where I had it black. So I think wine is like that. We can change our attitudes about certain wines. We just have to be open-minded and try new things. Interesting little hit of, not petrol, but really close. I just got it. Yeah, it's just barely there. Kind of really cool rosé. I like it. Well made, good balance. Across the board between acidity, fruit. It has a Tavel-like kind of body to it, especially on the backside. You get a little bit of meatiness to this rosé on the back end. And the finish is lingering. It's interesting doing a rosé. Now you could say, well, are they all rosé of the same variety? No, I don't believe so. That doesn't matter. We're just reviewing them, right? Just trying to find a good rosé. Doesn't matter if it's sweet, dry, whatever, as long as it's well made. And so far, all these have come through pretty well. Another light one. Oh, this one's really light. Okay, number four. Leave that over there. Okay, this is like, yeah, definitely, I think might be really close to number 2. Very, very light, real pale kind of peachy color with, you know, a little bit of copper tone to it. Let's see what we get on the nose. It's almost like, for lack of a better term, I get a little bit of sweaty socks on this one. A little bit of orange citrus coming through. To be fair, it was just a little hit of that. Doesn't smell like sweaty socks. I just got that for, you know, it just kind of came to my mind. Kind of weird. I can be weird sometimes. I definitely will admit that. So a little bit of watermelon. Again, I'm getting kind of that pitted fruit, a little bit of mango, peach, watermelon, and strawberry. Let's see what we get on the nose. On the palate. I already got the nose. Let's get the palate. Okay, this is the sweetest of them all. Definitely fruit forward on this. I get a little bit of a sugary element on the backside, like granulated sugar. It's like somebody put a little sugar on a watermelon and a peach, and now you're drinking it. Now, I'm glad I got this one because here we go. Colors really light, just like a lot of people like it. But this baby is definitely on the sweeter side. Nothing wrong with that if you want a sweet rosé. But if you're just looking at color and you're saying, oh, this must be a good rosé, it's light in color, wrong answer. This is a fruit-forward, sweeter style rosé. It has balance. I just don't like that kind of granulated sugar thing on the backside. Reminds me like you melted, you took some hot water and put a little sugar in there. Then you whipped in some watermelon, you whipped in some strawberries, you whipped in some mango, and then you drank it. That's kind of what it reminds me of. But I'm really glad this one is in the lineup because, again, the point is the darker one that we just had is way drier than this one. I think it's cool in Canada on the Rieslings, they do the sweet chart. So you look on the back of the Riesling and it'll tell you how sweet it is or how dry it is. Good for the consumer. We don't do that here in the US, but they do it in Canada. A lot of Canadians come down to the store and they're looking for that gauge on the back. They don't find it on our wines. I think there's a couple of Rieslings that do it. But so this rosé would tip the sweeter scale big time. It has balance. It has good fruit. Yes. But definitely that kind of sugary thing on the backside. Okay, there we go. Let's see where they land and what they are. I'm very excited to find out. And I'm a big rosé guy. Love the rosés. Okay, you guys aren't surprised. In fourth place, number 4 with a C+. So I didn't think it was terrible. It's on the sweeter side. I didn't like that granulated sugar thing on the backside, but it wasn't so off-putting. I don't think a lot of people would necessarily nail it as that, but that's what I nailed it as. So with a C+, number 4. Oh, look at that. 2021 Kiona Red Mountain AVA Rosé of Sangiovese. Very interesting. Rosé of Sangiovese on the sweeter side. So if you know somebody that, like drinks, let's say they drink, you know which one I'm talking about, pink that's sweet. I'm losing it. You know what I'm talking about. The sweet, pink, white Zinfandel. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. So if you know a white Zinfandel drinker and you want to say, hey, try just a rosé, maybe not quite as sweet as a white Zin, I think the Kiona would fit in that bill. Maybe get them on the track to tasting some drier style rosés. In third place, number 1 with a B-B, so not bad, is the 2020 Waterbrook Sangiovese Rosé Columbia Valley. It rolls in, let's see, $14 on the Kiona. This one is $12. Waterbrook. There you go. Well-known winery in Washington State. $12 though. Good value. Just the acidity on that one kind of set me off just a little. I mean, it's really acidic. Definitely needs food. In second place, number 2, hey, ironic, with a B+, is the brown, okay, cool. Looking for the vintage, guys. Pregnant pause as he searches for the vintage on the Brown Vineyards Bintner Estate Grenache Rosé 2021. There it is in really light color on the bottom. $18 with a B+. I thought it was a good rosé. It had a lot of that kind of mango thing going on. Thought it had good balance. It was a good rosé. I called it a porch pounder. $18. You're getting up there, but that's okay. B+. Now my favorite of the bunch. Number 3. I think, oh, well, obviously it's a darker one with a B+, A-. Number 3 is 2020 Thurston Wolf Lemberger Rosé, or Blaufränkisch Rosé Yakima Valley. This is just a cool wine, and this just goes to show you, okay, here's a darker. Some people they will definitely shy away from darker rosés, but this one, you know, just had the kind of meatiness to it. It was dry, had good fruit on the mid palate, but it dried out. Liked it a lot. So there you go. More Tavel-like. There you go. So, and the really pale one was the sweeter of the bunch. So don't let color fool you. If you learn anything from this episode, don't let the color of rosé fool you. Hopefully you can ask somebody that's running the wine department to give you some direction on this. You know, you see the darker rosé, say, how is it? I'll tell you, look, it's really good. It's dry, but it has good fruit on the mid palate. It is a good rosé, and it's made from Limburger, Blaufränkisch. There you go. Question for you. Do you shy away from a rosé if it is darker in color? Let me know in the comments. What is that something that you are afraid of? Not afraid. You just stay away from it. Or are you looking for the paler rosés? I want to know in the comments. Need more comments, by the way. If you haven't commented, please dive in and comment. I'll do my best to respond to your comments. I really like it. I like that kind of community feeling when you guys get involved. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.